New token launches are all the craze, and I am here today to deliver the rest of the year's outlook for some of the biggest token generation events, or TGEs, as they say on Twitter and in the crypto sphere, for you to look out for to potentially maximize your gains. Try to get in early and position yourself for some of these huge launches. We've seen massive successes like Gaiman, like Portal, and there's more that have just come to market and have done crazy exponential gains. How can you get in front of these tokens, and which tokens should be on your radar? We're going to cover that all and more today. So without further ado, let's get in the game. First and foremost, guys, drop down, hit that like button, and subscribe. We're trying to push for that 100K subscriber mark. Help us out. Help us get there down below. Hit that subscribe button and like the video. Helps us get this in front of more like-minded and people who are interested in crypto gaming just like yourself. Quick shout out to all of our sponsors as well. It's a long list, but we got to show love to our sponsors here on In the Game. We have some amazing sponsors from Vulcan Forge, Ultra, Dreams Quest. We have Game Starter, NordVPN, Uncaged, Africa Rare. We have Funtico, Linea, Affin, My Lovely Planet, Moon Tropica, Reality Metaverse, and last but not least, 𝗏𝗏𝗄𝗏. So guys, check out all of our sponsors down below. As well, we have our exchange sponsors in the description. So let's go ahead and jump into the market really quick, and we'll go over some news. But today, like I said, we're going to be forecasting the biggest token launches coming up and how you can position yourself in the right communities and projects to be able to leverage these early opportunities and be able to maximize your gains this bull cycle. So right now, Bitcoin's about 70K, but let's look at some of the winners over the last, 24 hours to a week's time period. Root Network looking pretty good here, up 15%. The Rainbow token for crypto unicorns. This is an interesting one. This one's up 160% on the 30 days. I know that team has a lot in store in the coming weeks, so that'll be one that's going to be interesting to watch. We have Shrapnel doing pretty well, up 11%. We have Wilder World, which we'll talk about here in just a second. Winner is waking up a bit. It's up 17% on the 30-day. And then if we look at the 30-day chart here, some of the ones we've been chatting about, Creo Engine, one of our sponsors, Moon Tropica, is up about 60%. Champs has been doing really well. We have Base, which has recently been pushing all-time highs. So, like I said, some of our calls have been doing pretty solid, but right now the market is kind of just sideways. Altcoins are really, I would say, gearing up for that next move once we see Bitcoin break out of this range. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens with the altcoin scene after Bitcoin gets away from this 70K level. And before we get into the main bulk of the show, guys, we are giving away an NFT in collaboration with our sponsors over at Funtico. We're giving away a 𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗏 NFT. You can actually just jump in here down below and be able to, take part in this. All you have to do is, sign up in the link down below. There's a gleam.io link where you can join the giveaway brought to you by Funtico and In the Game to potentially win an exclusive 𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗏 NFT. So that is down below in the description. Let's get into the bulk of the show today. Like I said, we're not really talking about what to buy in the market today. There's a lot of good DCAs out there depending on your strategy, and we can kind of talk about that later if we have some time. But let's go over a few updates in the gaming space right now that have happened this week over the last couple of days, and then we'll move into the biggest token launches coming up throughout the middle bulk of 2024 and potential ways you can position yourself to be able to take advantage of those opportunities. We have Wilder World announcing that they're coming to a computer near you. They are coming to the Epic Game Store. I have to say, Wild, their token move this month is completely justified. As we see here, this thing on the monthly is up over 100%. So, shout out to anyone who held this. We got in last summer before the Apple VR announcement, and we've seen this thing just absolutely rocket. They've partnered with 𝗨𝗏 and Polygon, partnered with NVIDIA, headed to the Epic Game Store. They partnered up with Superverse. Midnight in Miami is launching here soon. So the team over at Wilder World is absolutely crushing it. Shout out to Superverse. I have conversations with Elio quite frequently, and he's told me that, we're going to turn heads with what we're doing over at Super. And this one definitely is just another piece of that puzzle here. Strap in, the future of gaming meets the future of finance. And they are integrating with Injective to bring DeFi to the super chain via their cutting edge multi-VM structure. You are not ready for phase 3. So some good updates there for Superverse. We have Parallel, which you guys know how bullish I am on Prime. We caught the lows here on Prime, about $2.77 was our entry point. And I think it could 5x from here. That would put us almost at like a 40, 50x. And I wouldn't even be surprised if it 10x from here. But they just announced another $35 million funding round. So, I mean, Prime so far has been the 𝗖𝗄𝗬 of this cycle as far as the moves that it's made, the popularity of the game itself. And, seeing this conviction at this stage, people like Dingaling, people like Ansem, people like Grail, Luca Nets getting involved, it's pretty telling. And I'm very bullish on what's to come for Parallel and Parallel Colony, their AI game, which I think is really going to, that's going to turn Prime on its head and get the AI investors to come into the gaming space. And then it gives the gaming investors and, that exposure to AI. So I'm really looking forward to that as well. 𝗏𝗏 Engine. I spoke about this one earlier this week. I think this is one that's worth accumulating at this point in time. If you look at 𝗏𝗏, the overall ecosystem, the community, the product, the games that are building on it, very strong in my opinion. And as we see here, we didn't talk about this last show, but for those of you who want to go play some games and maybe get rewarded for it, due to the overwhelming number of participants, their ongoing 𝗏𝗏 Playfest 1.0 is now extended until the 14th of April, 2024. You can win big with total prizes up to $14,000 in USDT, 𝗏𝗏, and tokens from different 𝗏𝗏 Play partners. I mean, you can jump in here and play stuff like Evermore, Meme Lords, Katana Inu, Afin, one of our sponsors here on the channel, Meta Fighter, a low cap game that we've covered here in the past. They're doing some pretty cool stuff over there as well. So some pretty cool experiences here. And like I would, hop into Afin, I would hop into Katana Inu and go, participate into the 𝗏𝗏 Playfest. And 𝗏𝗏 right now, if I'm going back over to the market here, I think on the 30-day they were up, but 𝗏𝗏 I think is a pretty good opportunity here at these market cap levels. As far as a DCA, it's currently trading a bit sideways, but I think 𝗏𝗏 is near the top of the list as far as DCAs that I think are pretty solid at this point in time. Now, let's get into the bulk of the show. Like I said, we're not really going to be talking too much about here's what to buy today. If I'm looking at the daily charts, however, I would probably be looking at Balance AI. I'd probably be looking at Katana Inu, as mentioned there with 𝗏𝗏. I think that Cap Games has made a nice move, but I think it's kind of consolidating still. I think that Cap Games is a pretty good buy at this current moment in time. Otherwise, I mean, I'm pretty set in my positions. We've seen Honeyland taking a little bit of a leg up. Moon Tropica is probably gearing up for another run. I know Decimated has a lot up their sleeve, but there are a lot of good positions to buy during this consolidation period. But what I'm most focused on right now is not what I'm looking to add to my current portfolio. It's the things I'm looking to add to my early stage investment portfolio, okay? And the way that you're going to come out like a bandit in this market is being in the right projects to be able to take advantage of these early rounds. But number two, just getting in early on these projects in general. So first and foremost, we had another day go by and another huge TGE launch and a success for GMRX. This one we were talking about before TGE. This is Gaming. It's a bridge between gaming and AI. They're doing some really cool things over here with this product. This launched at a $2.4 billion fully diluted market cap. So these token launches are going crazy as of late. And if you can get in on these by being involved in the right communities, you can really leverage these for major gains. So whether you invested early or farmed the airdrop, you could have made out like a bandit on this launch. I did get in myself early on Gaming. I didn't farm the airdrop. I definitely should have. People made out like crazy if you actually did farm that airdrop. But you can keep farming and potentially farm that Block Games airdrop if you missed that and you don't have access to get in early. So first of all, what are some communities you can get into before we get into these different rounds and the things that I think are the biggest upcoming TGEs in this current market? A lot of which I'll disclose the ones that I'm involved in and the ones that I'm not. That way, for full transparency purposes. But with Portal, Aether Games, Entangle, Gaming, we had BitBrawl launch today. There's been so many successful TGEs this year. I mean, it is definitely the best ROI in the entire market if you just have access to any of these communities. So some of the things you can leverage, my software product, actually, we have our own launchpad. We've done rounds for, Aether, Dark Times, Chrono Forge, Aether Games. We did Vendetta. We did Space, which is an upcoming one. We've had collaborative raises with Portal, Block Games, etc. 𝗖𝗄𝗅 is a great one. I do some stuff over there with 𝗖𝗄𝗅. I think that 𝗖𝗄𝗅, you're going to get smaller allocations if you utilize 𝗖𝗄𝗅, but that's definitely one that you can get in with these early rounds. Neo Tokyo, if you just have an S2, which is, not too expensive, you can have access to the Citizen Capital rounds, which, they get a lot of good deal flow over there. And then Steady Stack Capital, they've been doing some pretty good raises as well. Those are some of the, I would say Nexus, Neo Tokyo, and Steady Stack. Those three are the ones that you can get in at maybe the lowest entry point currently. If you do an S2 with Neo Tokyo, but the allocation sizes are pretty tough on the 𝗖𝗄𝗅 side. But those are the 4 communities I would recommend looking into. And maybe GameStarter, our sponsor here on the show, GameStarter has been having some really good launches as well. But those are the communities I would try to position myself in to get involved with these raises. Now let's get into them. Number one, and this is definitely number one on my overall list, and that is Off the Grid. Without a doubt, this looks like the absolute best Web3 game that we will have seen to date. And to be quite honest with you, it's not even close. Off the Grid right now, people like Clicks, Dr. Disrespect, their gameplay of this was absolutely phenomenal. And, people, when they see what's going on in this ecosystem, they had their node sale, they have their upcoming token launch. There's a lot to be excited about. They're going to have 150 player PvP, 60-hour PvE, Xbox, PlayStation, PC. This is going to be on all of these different platforms. So very, very bullish on what they have going on at Off the Grid. I think this is going to be the best crypto game that we have seen to date whenever this launches. And quite frankly, I think if you can get your hands on this token, and look, this one's hard. I've hardly been able to touch anything regarding Off the Grid or Gunzilla tokens. So if you're able to get in on this through any given group, through any given round, I think it's more than worth it. I think this is going to be the biggest Web3 game that we have ever seen once this does launch. Next up would be Block Games. Block Games right now, you don't even have to invest early in this one. Block Games, it's like a gaming launcher, infrastructure platform. You can go in, play games, complete quests, all that good stuff. They have an amazing team that knows exactly what they're doing here. They just did close their public presale, but we did talk about this earlier in the week regarding the presale. I think that this one is more than worth investing in. But number 2, just jump in and farm the airdrop. All you have to do is jump in, sign up to their app. You don't need a referral code at this point in time. And if you tweet the block ticker or at @GetBlockGames, you can actually start farming this airdrop. I know people that made 5 figures off of farming the Gaming drop. I would definitely go farm the Block Games airdrop. I think this is going to be one of the absolute biggest token launches of the probably next month or so. And to be quite honest with you, I think it can do similar X's, if not more, maybe, than Portal. And that's saying a lot. Next up would be Easy. This one goes live here in about 2 weeks or so. This is a gamified liquidity solution for and marketplace for digital assets, tokens, and real world assets on Blast, backed by Animoca. So I mean, they have a lot of good stuff going on over here as far as, what they're building. I think 𝗄𝗎 is being slept on, to be completely honest with you. They're partnered up with another recent TGE that we brought to you here on the channel, which is Entangle. I think this one's going to do really well. Their team has been prepping for this for quite a while, and this one's harder as well to get your hands on. I think Block Games is a little more accessible, but this is kind of in that off the grid territory where, not a lot of places are running rounds for this. But if you're able to even leverage these post market, that's still a great play. Like Mavia went from $1.80 to $10 after market. So it's all about where it launches and what the valuation is. Like Aether Games, for example, we gave you that one early and before it launched. I still think it's a good DCA today because I genuinely think that the market cap is a little bit undervalued. So you can still leverage these all post market. You just have to pick and choose your spots. Next up would be the Carrot token. All the hooligans are definitely going to flood the comment section. This is going to be probably like, I think one of the biggest individual game tokens in the space once this does launch. I mean, the amount of things that the studio behind 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 is pushing out is just so impressive. I know they have amazing advisors, ambassadors, supporters, backers. Mark Cuban, Paris Hilton are backers of the studio. Like very, very, I mean, this team is embedded in the culture. They're embedded in entertainment and gaming. I really am bullish on the Carrot token. If you've been staking your hoolies, I hope that you claimed your 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏s because those did wipe away if you did not go claim. So if you didn't, make sure you do that. But super bullish on 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. They definitely will run some launchpad rounds. And I think they're also going to do a public sale. Don't quote me on that, but I think you will have an opportunity to get in here pretty early as far as the Carrot token. Games.gg. This is another one you can literally go farm right now. On the Games.gg website, go over there, start completing quests, rack up that XP. That XP is likely to be able to be converted / turn into a token airdrop. They have all but confirmed that there will be an airdrop. They're using the parachute emojis on all their tweets that are talking about, go use the platform. So I think it's very safe to say to go utilize the Games.gg platform and qualify for the G3 airdrop. I know that they are doing some IDOs. I know Polka Starter's running it. I'm not sure the other launch pads currently, but this is one you can easily go farm and take advantage of. Next up is the Arcade token. So the IDO starts April 2nd. And actually, the IDO here is going to be with our sponsor here on In the Game, which is GameStarter. So if you have access to GameStarter, this will be going live here pretty soon. I'm just looking for that tweet, but we covered it on one of our recent shows that the GameStarter IDO round will be starting here on April 2nd. So very bullish on Arcade. This is like a GameFi infrastructure. So if you don't want to A, play every game, or B, you just want to earn rewards from games passively, you can actually invest into their mission pools using the Arcade token. And then you actually can get paid out yield from the success of these different missions among different ecosystems like Shrapnel, like eventually, Off the Grid, Illuvium, Star Atlas, all that good stuff. So I think Arcade's really going to do well. And this one's actually launching on one of our partner launch pads here at GameStarter. Next up would be Bloodloop. I know this one, it's going to be on 𝗖𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. This is going to be on probably a couple of different launch pads. And I know some of these VC groups have been running this one. Bloodloop is a hero shooter on Avalanche. I think the Avalanche narrative, it speaks for itself. I mean, look at the guys at GDC here. So they were playing it live at GDC. They had the full setup. They had the team out there. Avalanche was putting this thing front and center. So I think Bloodloop's really going to kill it. And let me make a quick note here. All of these are basically invested into by some of the biggest names in the space. Most of these cap tables have Becker, Elio, Ivan on Tech, Dingaling, all these people that are just, the ones you want on your cap table. So I know Becker, for example, invested into Bloodloop. I think this one's going to absolutely crush it. This will be incubated over on 𝗖𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. We have Rebel Cars. This is an interesting one. If you're in the Vulcan Forged ecosystem, I think this is one you absolutely have to get your hands on. They're revving up for their IDO on Elysium. So as we see here, the IDO kicks off on April 3rd. If you stake your PYR, you have access to this. It's a CGI car racing game. The graphics on this thing, I've been seeing some of their renders. I mean, unreal. And I do think as the flagship launchpad launch on Vulcan Forged, that this one is really going to do well. So I'm definitely looking at Rebel cars to do some really good numbers. Chrono Forge is a huge one. As mentioned, we ran this over at Nexus. I know other launch pads are going to be running it here soon. I think they're also going to do some sort of a public sale. And I think the NFTs get airdrops in this ecosystem. So take that for what you will. But Chrono Forge, they're doing some amazing things. The game looks awesome. They've been building for a few years at this point. They're going to have the gaming and AI narrative all up to, that's all up their sleeve. They recently announced that their massive play and earn season is coming where you can qualify for 6 million Rift, which is their upcoming token. So Chrono Forge, I think this one's going to be very, very hot once it hits the market. We have Block Lords. Block Lords has been building for quite a while. I talked to these guys back in 2022 at GDC, and with their backing and the quality of the game, every gaming influencer / just Web3 gaming participant that I speak with, this is on the top of their list as far as some of the playable experiences out there currently. I think at the valuation this is launching at, and this hasn't done any launchpad rounds yet, I think that Block Lords will really do well once this thing comes to market. I mean, they have all the publications, all the backing. They have the game to back up everything that they, are basically promising in the market right now. So I think that Block Lords is one that hasn't really gotten a lot of publicity, but is definitely on the radar for a lot of people as far as early launches go. Now let's get into a couple others here on Nyan Heroes. I know that they have a public round coming up. I don't know when that will be, but the one thing what we've been seeing in the market recently is that games that come out that currently have product are smashing it in the market. Heroes of Mavia, Pixels, all that good stuff. And right now, Nyan Heroes, people like Bryson are out here playing it, saying, they got it right. There aren't many times I can confidently say a Web3 game is built with something special, but I am bullish on Nyan Heroes. The game is well done and probably one of the best games that we have in Web3. I mean, and Bryce plays a lot of Web3 games. He's out here streaming on Twitch all the time. So I have to say, hearing that from him, it kind of gives third-person Valorant kind of vibes from like the UI and just it really plays smooth. So this is one I have on my radar. I'm looking to get involved early. It's going to be on a few launch pads, and I think this will also be, as mentioned, doing a public sale. Now, some of the ones maybe a little harder to get your hands on this one, but this one is going to smash it. It is the Mocha token, the official token of Animoca Brands. That goes without saying. I think this one's going to do really well. And I mean, you're basically backing the biggest Web3 gaming investor in the space if you get involved with the Mocha token. I'm not exactly sure if they're going to do a public sale or not. I know this won't be on many launch pads due to the fact that it's Animoca. So if you're able to get any exposure to this, or I think the Mochaverse NFTs, that might be the play here if you want to get involved with Mocha Coin. Last few here, we have Bigga Arcade. This is like a gaming ecosystem, multiple games, and their economic model is one of the more sustainable that I've seen and looked at. And when I spoke to the founder here at this project, I'm very bullish. I am involved with this one as far as early stages. So I think Bigga has a lot of potential. And then moving on from gaming, Lingo coins and real world assets. This one I think is really going to sweep your timeline in the next couple of weeks. They're going to when I spoke with this team, I invested here as well. I'm spreading my stack out a little bit. I have my gaming bags majority, but I am in the AI coins. I am into some real world asset stuff. So this is one I'm absolutely looking forward to. And I think Lingo, whenever they do their social push, you're going to see it on your timeline and you're going to want to get involved. And then in the AI space, we have Aether and 𝗏𝗏 AI. So if you're able to get your hands on any of these launches and position yourselves in communities that give you that access, I think it's more than worth the investment to get into these types of communities. And I can guarantee you, the biggest ROI play you will ever have in crypto is the ability to have access to some of these early. And even if you can't, there's post-market opportunities in these types of things. A lot of the times when they launch, they'll consolidate and then have an absolute catastrophic move to the upside. We might see that happen with a lot of these different tokens, especially if we start heading up towards that 100K Bitcoin. So not even on the fact that you have to get in before they go to market. I think those are the biggest token launches that you need to be looking forward to the rest of the year to maybe get some of that success and ride the waves of what Portal and what some of these tokens have recently done that have come to market. So those are the ones I'm looking out for, as well as Second World Games. Their token, the SWIO token, is actually going live here pretty soon. Their loot boxes are now available on OpenSea with the base chain. So if you're not aware, this is another gaming ecosystem studio, has multiple games under their umbrella. Very bullish on what they're doing as well. And I think that would qualify as the last token here on the list that I am looking forward to as far as early launches go. And then we have a couple updates on the NFT side. We see Node Runners. This is one, it's a gaming NFT. This small supply, 3,000 supply. This is going to be minting on April 9th. I would do what it takes to get on the whitelist here. It's a pretty under the radar, but very quality project. These guys are out of Neo Tokyo. I've spoke with them in person. I've seen what they're building. Very bullish on Node Runners. The 𝗖𝗄𝗄 company Nova Frontier campaign is still ongoing, and they're actually doing this thread here that went over their spaceships. I think that this one, they're going to have 9,999 premium spaceships among different rarities. Human, AI, alien, all that good stuff. So go check this out. This is definitely an under the radar project that I think is definitely worth getting involved with. And then let's chat about our sponsors really quickly before we hop out of here. We have Pika-Moon, which had a very successful launch. The market cap is, for a new launch of like a token like this, very, very solid. And as we see here, 65 million equivalent to $160,000 worth of the Pika token has already been burnt since launch. So this token has been deflationary on each transfer and sell order. 0.5% of that is burned forever. So some pretty good metrics here. If you're looking for a deflationary token, Pika-Moon might be your bet. Moon Tropica partnered up with 𝗏𝗏𝗏. So they're going to be offering decentralized privacy for the Moon Tropica players by routing traffic through encrypted hops via their DPIN network. So, recently Becker covered this in his video. Elio was replying kaboom to one of their tweets. So, they're getting support from some of the mainstream players in the space. Moon Tropica has been one of the biggest gainers this year, one of the most loyal communities I've seen in the Web3 gaming space. So check them out in the link down below as well. And then Linea, last but not least, Linea is introducing an exciting new program called the Linea Voyage Surge. As the Grand Voyage enters its final chapters, this event will bring the last missing piece to the ecosystem, which is liquidity. Start now to maximize your contribution and be an early adopter. So you can get involved ushering in a new era of DeFi engagement. And not just DeFi, they're embedded in the gaming space. They just ran a campaign here on Linea with Battlemon. They did one with 𝗏𝗏𝗏 as well, but they had 501,000 participants. That's pretty impressive, if I have to say so myself, given the fact that the space is still so infant. And that's kind of the premise of the show is we're very early. And if you have these launches on your radar and you're able to capitalize, get involved early, or be in the right spot to judge these valuations once they go live, you could still leverage these either pre or post market to your advantage. But I know everyone out there has FOMO when they see these big token launches and everyone bragging about, I got in Portal, I got in this. So that was the playbook of communities to get involved with and tokens you should be looking out for that are going to be launching throughout the rest of the year. All right, guys, like the video, subscribe. Looks like Bitcoin's making a little bit of a move as I'm wrapping this up. So that is good to see. We'll see where this pushes, because I think if Bitcoin makes this next leg up, gaming altcoins, AI altcoins are going to absolutely rip. So cheers. Let's hope we get that little rip upwards, break out of this 70,000 range, and see where gaming tokens head. Like the video and subscribe, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. As always, play well, my friends.